In this very important video, we're going to be talking about the Real Talk framework, the foundation of everything we do inside of the Performance by Design system. So now let's have a look first at what we define culture and how we define culture. The behaviors we accept and reward of each other. You get what you reward or you get what you tolerate are two other ways we can bring this to light. A misconception about culture is how well do we get along. It's predicated on how much enjoyment we have at work, how well do we party, some people define culture as. That can be part of a high-performing culture, but we're looking for results and we're looking for the ability to hold each other accountable to an agreed set of behaviors, which is why we always drill down to behavior level. The actions that we do get us our results. Our behaviors drive our results. So when we look at that as our definition of culture, what we define as a high-performing culture is where every member of the team feels safe to have open, honest, and constructive conversations about performance with any other member of the group, irrespective of positions on the team. And that's what we call real talk. You can have your fun, you can get along, you can have all that great stuff, but you need to be able to hold each other accountable to an agreed set of behaviors and standards to get the results that you want. So let's have a look at real talk before we get into the actual framework, because the framework is absolutely key to strengthening that real talk muscle, okay? Real talk is the skill and ability to give and receive feedback that has a positive impact on performance. Now, those conversations may be positive recognition, which we highly recommend. We know the research is pretty clear. 4 or more pieces of positive recognition for every one constructive and or negative conversation, the one that we find a bit more challenging, okay? And when we talk about this positive impact on performance, in the moment, it might not feel that great, but it's got to be predicated on the fact that we care for each other and that we're here to improve. Never ever forget when we're having a real talk conversation that we're leaning into it because we care about our mates and we want them and the team to improve. That's the foundation of everything around real talk. And again, I'll come back to this positive ratio. Capture the good, catch the good. If you see someone behave well as a leader inside of your organization, catch the good. Recognize that behavior, because if you do, that person will connect to that and likely to continue on that with that behavior, okay? It also puts dollars into the trust bank. So when you do have to have one of those more difficult, honest conversations, you've got a few dollars in that trust bank, okay? So let's move over now to the fact that we see real talk as a trained skill, which is why the real talk framework is so important to the culture and the performance that you get from your team. So real talk is a skill, therefore it can be practiced, just like drumming, music, tennis, whatever it might be, it's a skill that can be practiced. So much like a muscle, it strengthens if we use it and work it. And again, same as a muscle, if we don't work it, it gets weaker. So we need to be approaching this from a little and often fashion and leaning into as much real talk as we possibly can to strengthen that muscle, drive collaboration and drive innovation. Because when we have got that safety to have honest conversations and real talk, it does allow us to collaborate better, which leads to better innovation. When we innovate, we manage adversity faster. And in this game of business today, being able to manage adversity faster than our opponents generally wins the game. Speed through adversity is the name of the game here, and real talk is the foundation of that innovation, okay? So let's dive now into the real talk framework itself, which is designed to be executed inside your real talk exercises, in your team tune-ups, and at any quality structured moment in time where you're meeting to practice real talk. And it's really important that we follow this structure because it's not a back and forth straight away. The idea here is in the real talk framework, there'll be a person who's going to be receiving the feedback first, receiving the real talk. So that means givers are going to provide feedback until finished. The receiver will listen and can only say thank you as they're receiving. Now in your mind, there's a whole bunch of stuff that might be coming up. You might be thinking a whole range of thoughts, but your reaction becomes extremely important, which is why we challenge you to only say thank you and listen to the information until the giver or givers, because there might be a group of people, have finished speaking. Okay, that's really key. There must be a defined end to the givers providing feedback. Okay. Once you've said your thank yous and be authentic, okay, around that, don't just be pushing out thank yous left, right, and center. Then it's your chance as the receiver to respond. Now, if you've got worksheets or you're filling it into the system, you will be reading out your recorded answers. Or if you haven't got anything recorded, you simply can ask questions for clarity. So that's really important in relation to the structure of the actual real talk exercise. Sometimes you'll have recorded answers as well. So you'll read out your answers and then you'll ask questions. You might not have any recorded answers, so straight away, we ask you to lean into asking questions for clarity. So there's a great skill. You've received some feedback, you've listened until the speaker has finished, and then your first action back is to ask a question. That's leadership 101 right there, and a really underrated and underutilized skill. Once those first two steps are finished, then we would say go back and forth and get in sync by closing any gaps in between the information getting received and the information that you're giving back, okay? So again, givers provide the feedback until finished, receiver listens until everything's been said, only saying thank you, irrespective of the information they're receiving. We're practicing receiving. Receiver can then respond by either reading out their answers recorded or asking questions for clarity. What did you mean by that? You talked about that. Can you give me an example? Okay. Then we go back and forth. And even in the third section there, we again promote more question asking and modeling and reinforcement. Modeling being repeating back what they said to you to get clarity and get in sync. Okay. Givers give, receiver listens. Flip it over, receiver reads theirs out, asks questions for clarity. Then once that's done, then we go back and forth. Very, very simple, very, very important to follow to get the most out of these real talk sessions, okay? And then when you look at that, and we keep going back to this improvement piece, the more we practice it, the better we get at it. Now, we also know that real talk is immediate. When it's best, it's immediate, it's in real time. That takes a little while to get there. So one way to understand whether it's the right time to give feedback, it's right time, right place, right way. If you tick all those three boxes, you're generally pretty good. Okay, remember, it's predicated on improvement. And obviously we have the various formats inside of the Performance by Design system. The one-on-ones, we have self-reflections and leader real talk, small groups, speed real talk, that's a cracker. People love that one. And then group to group. But no matter what the exercise is, we apply the framework, okay? And then we brought it into the system, your Performance by Design system, where we have regular team tune-ups and the institute in between to keep building that real talk muscle. The better we get at real talk, the more we care about each other and the more we improve, okay? So that's the real talk framework. Very simple, but very important to follow to really build that real talk muscle inside of your organization.